but since we haven't got a fix for that, I would ask for a motion from council that Councillor Cunningham, as the acting mayor, preside over this meeting and the meeting to follow the closed meeting. Can I have a motion to that effect? I see two hands. I'll let the corporate administrator choose which ones as mover and seconder. And if there's no discussion, all in favor? Any opposed? Before I surrender, I'll just note that His Worship Mayor Knut Bjarndal is in the room from Port Ed. We welcome you. And with that, Councillor Cunningham, you're in charge.
I'm going to talk. Can you hear me now? Hello?
No. We can hear you, but not through the mic, it appears.
Yes.
It was working just before the meeting started. Maybe I'll just say, as one of the few people that appears to have a working microphone, I'll just let people know, if you happen to just tune in, we're trying to get the microphone in the room to be working. The meeting's been called to order, but the presiding officer's microphone is not working right now.
Can you turn it up? Oh. Okay.
checking. Is mine? This one works.
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, very well. Yes.
Okay, we'll try. Okay, now you can hear me. Okay. Don't touch. Okay. I've heard that before. Okay, well, adoption of the agenda. That the agenda of the regular council meeting of January 9th, 2023 be adopted. Moved by Councillor Eady, seconded by Councillor Forster. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Passed. Minutes. Recommendation that the minutes of the regular council meeting December 5th, 2022 be adopted. Councillor Randawa, Councillor Nish, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Passed. Reports and resolutions. Report from the Planning Department, Development Activity Reports for November and December 2022.
Thank you, Councillor. This is simply a receive and file for Council.
Do we need a motion on that? Yeah, okay, a motion to accept. Councillor Eady, Councillor Nice, all in favor? Any opposed? Report from the Director of Operations and Intergovernment Relations, Republic Works Building Update.
Thank you. This is just a report for information purposes. I'll just go through it really quickly. The current public works yard dates back to the early 1950s and has seen little renewal over the years. In 2016, the department completed an assessment that rendered some of the buildings used for only transient occupancy. Staff brought in portables at that time from Kitimat as a stopgap opportunity. They are now starting to leak and have electrical and heating issues and really showing signs of failure overall. Estimates put a new public works facility and yard at about $7 million to build. So we started looking at alternative options. Staff approached the owners of the closed GM dealership as it was determined that that space was available and it fit the needs of the public works with some renovations required. The owners and the city entered into a lease with an option to purchase. So far we've completed a functional design assessment that determined what goes where in the building. We have completed an RFP and are awarding the mezzanine to be put back in, which will be for office space. We're completing an HVAC review right now, and designs are underway for a new lunchroom, washroom, locker room, and first aid area. Early projections put the completion of this work in late 2023 at approximately $5 million, and that's inclusive of the property purchase, but exclusive of the lease payments. However, these costs could escalate a bit because we are in some uncertain times right now. That's the extent of the report for information purposes. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to accept the report? Seconder? Oh, that comes out. And then seconder, and any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Eady.
Yeah, just reflecting on the fact that I think I had asked for an update on this, and this is the update that I asked for, so I appreciate that. I guess I'd like to acknowledge the place from which the original inquiry came from in the public, and that was, you know, a pretty generic, basic interest of taxpayers, and really they want to know that this is an arrangement that is in the best interests of the taxpayer compared to alternatives. And you've talked about the possibility of about $7 million to build a new one from scratch. And in this case, you've got a projection of $5 million, which includes the purchase price, but does not include the lease. And one of the questions that I was asked was, well, how much are we paying in the lease? And there's been a number of different numbers thrown out there as a monthly cost. So I guess my first question is, do we have a clear sense of what we are paying for the lease on a monthly basis?
Go ahead.
I will defer this to our city manager. I'm unsure if we're allowed to release that type of information publicly.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have to take a look at the contract and see whether or not it's a confidentiality request condition at this point. Can we report back at the next meeting?
Yeah, no, that would be fine.
Thank you, Dr. Buchan.
I suspect that my other question will likely get the same response. So, and that was just a bit more of a breakdown in terms of the $5 million.
I can comment a bit on the $5 million. So the $5 million is a combination of what we estimate the renovation cost would be and the purchase price of the building, which we have an understanding through a 2022 assessment. However, the exact numbers, I don't believe we could release that assessment number.
Okay, my final hope, I suppose, is I did what anybody out there could do, and that's look up the property value on BC Assessment, and their last assessment, the 2022 assessment, was around 1.5 million. So I guess I would hope that in terms of there would be some reference to that in terms of when we do start looking at what the purchase price might be.
Yeah, so we would be getting a proper appraisal completed by a certified appraiser to look at the purchase price.
Okay, thanks.
I too have had a lot of questions about this, and one question that keeps coming up is the improvements we're putting in there, adding to the value of the building, and is it going to be, when we do purchase it, is that going to be taken into consideration and deducted from the actual assessment at that particular time, or will that assessment not reflect those improvements? Because if we're going to spend $500,000 renovating a building and then have to buy it later, and that's going to put the assessment up, where's that going to be? Is that going to be something that we're going to be discussing when we do purchase it?
I can answer that as well. The assessment will be at the value of the building today, not without improvements. So the improvements that the city makes on the building will not be part of the assessment.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions? Discussion? Okay, all in favor of receiving? Anyone object? Nope. Okay, passed. Okay, the next one is Director of Operations again, Mr. Pucci, on major projects monthly update.
Thank you very much. So this again is just a report for to be filed, and it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll quickly go through it. The RCMP detachment is 25% complete. Construction has been awarded. The SCADA system upgrade 15% complete. Design is in progress, and that has been awarded. The sewer treatment program 15% complete. We have 100% design drawings right now and are moving forward to look at construction in 2023. Submarine line 15% complete. The design is in progress right now. Water treatment 10% complete. We are working on the RFEI, reviewing all the RFEIs that have come forward. The waterfront project is 15% complete. Bathymetric survey is complete on that, and functional design will be coming forward to council very soon. And then Woodworth Dam, 100% complete. And I know there's been a lot of questions about when the water will be coming back on. So the pipe has now been flushed. And we are just working to hopefully in the next week or two be able to have Northern Health give us the thumbs up that we can bring it back to the community. So we are very close. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you explain to the public what SCADA means?
SCADA communication is it's the system in which all of the pumps and relays and everything all talk to each other just in really basic terms. So it's a software system and with computers and the way we're doing it is with these radio towers so that you have to have point-to-point contact and so that we can have better communication with all of our systems. So for instance, when we see draw coming down on a reservoir, it clicks a PLC, which then turns on a pump way over in Schwatlands, which is 10 kilometers away. So these types of things all talk to each other, but to have the constant and really good communication, you have to have these towers that can visually see each other so that there's nothing that really can get in the way of that communication. This is absolutely normal in every community, our size and bigger, is that there's these communication systems. We, because of the way our community is set up as a whole, we aren't very flat, as everyone knows. So we have a lot of pump stations. We have a lot of force mains and things like that to move our either water around the community or our sewer around the community. The SCADA communication handles both water and sewer to turn pumps on, turn them off, and move and adjust as need be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's just I've been asked and I thought it would be good if you explained it. Okay, motion to accept the report. Councillor Nish, Councillor Forrester. All those in favor? Any opposed? Passed. Report from the city or corporate administrator, Rural Economic Diversification and Infrastructure Fund letter of support for the Prince Rupert Golf Club.
Thank you, Councillor. Staff is requesting tonight that Council direct staff to provide a letter of support for the Prince Rupert Golf Club's application to REDAP funds for green renovations covering the driving range tees and possibly additional storage.
Okay, motion. Councillor Randhawa, Councillor Addy. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing. Oh, go ahead, Councillor Forrester.
Just to clarify, there's no budget impact. This is just a letter of support. Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Passed. Okay, another report from the corporate administrator, Rural Economic Diversification Infrastructure Fund for Tourism Prince Rupert.
Thank you, Councillor. This is similar to the one for the Prince Rupert Golf Club. This is for Tourism Prince Rupert for a letter of support for the REDAP fund for their Mariners Park project. And there are no cost implications to the city. This is just a grant letter of support.
Okay, motion to accept. Councillor Addy, Councillor Forrester. All those in favor, or is any discussion first? All those in favor? Any opposed? Passed. Report from the Chief Financial Officer, Reeves, property values for PILT.
Thank you. This council is asked to receive this report for information purposes, but just a general overview of it. At the August 22nd, 2022 regular meeting of council asked to have the values of Prince Rupert Port Authority lands for the periods reflected on the report provided at the same meeting. The report provides the values originally used for interim PILT payment to the city and the final determination of value provided by the PRPA. Years 2018 through 2021 final values were provided by the PRPA at the end of April 2022, which started the 90-day clock for applying to the dispute advisory panel. The city applied to the dispute advisory panel to challenge the final values for those years within that 90-day time frame given the significant difference. Dependent on the outcome of the dispute advisory panel proceedings, any advice provided to the PRPA could impact the PILT already received for those years. If any amount is found to be owing to the PRPA on the basis of land values, those amounts could or would negatively impact future budgets of the city through further reduction in PILT. And as an addendum added to the report is information staff was asked to request from PRPA on the port's compensation policy and payments made under that policy in the same years the city is disputing the PILT.
Motion to accept the report. Councillor Eady, Councillor Nice, second. Discussion. Go ahead, Councillor Nice.
It's a very bleak numbers when I look at this. The numbers showing the complete loss of value that they've somehow come up with on their properties. You know, when I look at the assessments, BC assessments this year, and some of the ones that people have contacted me about, which obviously that's not our department, but they still feel that it's a tax impact to them, so they reach out, and also even my own property assessment, and you know, it just kind of disgusts me in the fact that you know, for how many years here, 2018, 19, 20, you know, we had a value of close to, you know, give or take $70 million, and then with their new valuation, you know, losing 45, almost, you know, 45, $48 million down, which is obviously going to have a huge impact for our community if we have to pay back 3 or 4 years worth of money because all of a sudden their values have gone down drastically. So to me, it's you know, I just want the community to be very prepared for what's coming in our budget season because of these valuations on port land, which I would be curious to know who in the port authority actually comes up with the final valuation, being that they kind of don't apply to the same subscription that we apply to as property owners. You know, this is going to be a huge impact to our town, to all property owners, whether it's residential or commercial or light industry, basically everyone except for the Port Authority. And you know, it's going to be it is if this goes through the way it's on as far as their values, and we do not win at the dispute advisory panel, you know, people are going to be disgusted with their property taxes, and I want people to be quite aware of that. And if anyone feels that you know, if you look at this other information that we got on here about the bonuses paid to Port Authority employees, basically the bonuses paid in the last 4 years are equivalent to the taxes that we are going to be having to pay them back. So just be aware of that. You know, the compensation. It would be nice to know who's making the decisions down there and how much this impacts their compensation for bonuses, and being that it's most likely based on how much money the Port Authority is making. So I guess it's I guess, you know, we've tried to play nice for many years, and I guess now it's not time to play nice anymore.
Thank you, Councillor Nice. Councillor Wendower.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councillor Nish already said most. So my only question is like, is this report we got available for the public to look?
Yes.
Yes, through to the mayor. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I've got something to say about this. It's you know, my first question is to Director of Finances. Their bonuses or compensation package is $1.761 million. How much do they pay in taxes for PILT? Yeah. Oh, did you not hear me?
I heard you. I believe that your question is directed through the city manager first.
Oh, okay. Dr. Buchan?
Thank you. Sorry, could you rephrase the question for me?
Well, I see their compensation program payments to the executive and non-executive staff at Prince Rupert Port Authority is $1.761 million. And I'm wondering how much they pay in taxes on their PILT alone.
Okay, so I can answer that in two ways. We have an interim agreement with the PRPA, which allows us to go off of previous valuations until such time as we go through the dispute advisory process. And so that's keeping their payments higher for the interim, but we have to pay them back if we lose. So even with the elevated price, which is consistent with historic numbers, there's approximately $200,000 more in bonuses than there is in PILT payments. If we lose, if their final valuations stick after the dispute advisory process, the bonuses would be approximately $1 million more than is paid in PILT.
Okay, just one sec. Okay, so like an example of our assessments that just came out now, our housing assessments have, on an average, have gone up 14%, but Ridley Island has gone up 1.4%. So that's housing values are going up 10 times more than that. The port taxes on Ridley, if I'm correct on my figures, and just how is this? This is the engine that's driving this town, but pretty soon the engine's going to be going down the street with just four wheels if this keeps up. Like we talk about fair value, but fair value should be a little bit more than what we're getting assessed at this, and I don't know what's going to happen when it goes to dispute, but we'll see. And, I'd gladly give them what the assessed value of that land is. I think the city would gladly give them a check, write it tomorrow to give it to them, but we'll see. Okay, Councillor Forrester.
Thanks. Acting Mayor, I'm wondering if I can just make sure I understood what Dr. Buchan just shared with us, because I just want to make sure I'm crystal clear. So what I heard was that the Port Authority's devalued property means that they would potentially have a higher bonus because they devalued their property. Is that what I'm hearing?
Dr. Buchan?
I didn't say that, but what we can say from what we understand from the policy that's attached to the package is that the bonuses are determined in a significant part from profitability. So the less that is paid out, the more that is retained is more profit.
Thank you very, very much for that clarification. I think I'd like to echo what everybody else has said. This is really terrible for our community, and it's unfortunate that some of the people that are going to potentially have a financial gain from this don't even live here.
Okay, Councillor Eadie.
I won't repeat the sense of objection I think that we're feeling around the room and the reasons for it. I have a question and then a comment with regard to what I hope can be accomplished by having this on the agenda and therefore in public. And my question might be old ground, but I'd be happy to travel it. And that is just, do we have any idea why 2021, the original value was $139 million, and 2022 it was $27 million? Do we have a sense of what the criteria were by which that change was made?
Yes, to the chair. We understand that was a function of an appeal to the BC assessment numbers that was launched by the PRPA. And I would note that the city was advised that it wasn't a significant appeal, so we didn't involve ourselves at that time. But it did turn out to be a very significant appeal.
So, just as a follow-up comment, then, based on my reading of the bonus package, if part of the bonus comes from net profit, and if the people who are conducting the request for an appeal, or conducting the appeal and getting this change in the numbers, there it would seem to me must be a connection between the bonus packages and the successful reduction of those values, because the money becomes profit for the Port Corporation. Is that a fair speculation?
Dr.
To the chair, that's I think our read of it. Unless we can be shown otherwise, its profitability is based on how much money you make, and part of that is to do with how much money you don't have to pay out. So I think that's our understanding.
So then my comment on the fact that this is now on the table and therefore in public would be that I hope that as many people in the public realm will actually take the time to have a look, form their own opinions. I don't, on the face of it, object to the notion that a corporation has incentive packages. I think my concern is when those incentive packages are connected to an effect upon a community. And so I hope that this will become fodder for a broader public discussion, and that it may prove in the end to be one step further towards what I think that various players on all sides of this would like, and that is to reach a place where the community and the port have found a more comfortable way of relating to each other in a way that benefits the community in a fair way.
Councillor Randhawa?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, thank you. Yeah, it's very, like we already talked about mostly, like, but like last meeting we had to announce our emergency here because so many water breaks we had, and so if our town fails, everybody fails, and I think everybody should pay their fair taxes here. That's what I think. We should give the message.
Thank you. Well, I believe that everyone should pay their fair share. I think the port, when we sit down and discuss this, will probably be in the same boat, I'm hoping. They're a very intricate part of this community. If the community fails, they're going to fail too. So it's in their best interest that this community thrives. There's other people investing in this community, and I think the overall picture everyone has to. When you talk about the big difference that Mr. or Councillor Neese and other councillors have pointed out, well, in that particular year, our housing assessments went up 35%, and their assessment went down 80%. That's to me, there's something wrong with it. And if the public wants to really look at something interesting, look at page 7 of this 10 report. Calibration of performance ranges. They get a bonus even if they're below expectations. There's three ways of getting their performance bonuses. One's below expectations, meets expectations, and exceeds expectations. I've never heard of anyone getting a bonus for being below the expectation of what you're supposed to be doing. But at that, we'll just leave this and motion to accept the report. Any opposed? Thank you. We will now jump into bylaws. City of Prince Rupert Road Dedication Bylaw number 3512.
Thank you, Councillor. The recommendation this evening is that Council introduce and give first reading to Road Dedication Bylaw 3512-2023. And the reason for this report is that Digby Towers is preparing for occupancy and the building requires additional parking, and that's the road dedication.
Thank you. Motion to accept and second. Thank you. Okay, discussion? Oh, okay. Any discussion? Okay, that said, I'm glad to see this. Digby Towers has done one hell of a job of renovating it, and I'd really like to see people living in there. You see it lit up at night, and it's just a shining example of what can happen in this town when people want to invest in it and that. So I'm glad this is here. We can help in any way we can to bring it forward to get those people involved in it. Thank you very much. All those in favor? Any opposed? Kenny? I'm green at this, so. Dr. Buchan?
It's not protocol for people from the audience to speak when bylaws are being read. That's not on the agenda, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, you need to stop the discussion. There is
Okay.
no opportunity at these meetings for public input. There is a process. It's well covered, but it's not. There is no opportunity in this agenda for public input.
Okay, maybe we'll have a discussion after the meeting if we can with this corporate manager or with Dr. Buchan, but obviously we can't discuss it now, sorry. So that's passed. So this is City of Prince Rupert Road Dedication Bylaw 3512. Go ahead.
That was we'll do 3513 next. Yes. Thank you,
13,
Councillor.
sorry.
Yeah, no. So the recommendation this evening is that Council introduce and give first reading to Road Closure Bylaw number 3513-2023. And the reason for this report is the City of Prince Rupert has requested a road closure and sale of the property as shown on the attachments.
Okay, motion to accept. Councillor Adey and Councillor Forrester, any discussion? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just, maybe it's just that my eyes are old and tired. It wasn't really super clear to me exactly what's in play in terms of the property there. I'm wondering if somebody could give me a Coles Notes version of what's being proposed here.
Can I defer that to Director Pucci?
Thank you. So on Schedule A of the bylaw that's in the back, it shows two dark black squares or two denoted dark black areas that say closed lane and closed lane. So those are the two areas of closed lane that will then, if council approves, move forward with a purchase and sale agreement to be consolidated to a larger parcel for a development in the area. Thank you.
Is that clarification enough?
Yeah, no, that's good. And since this is first reading, I'm assuming this has a road to travel before it becomes a final decision anyway.
Dr. Buchan?
I will defer to the Director of Corporate Affairs to address the procedure.
Okay.
Corporate Officer, beg your pardon.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Motion to, or no, all those in favor? Any opposed? Passed. City of Prince Rupert Council Procedure Bylaw 3508.
Thank you, Councillor. The recommendation this evening is that Council give fourth and final reading to the City of Prince Rupert Council Procedure Bylaw 3508/2022, and that Council rescind the City of Prince Rupert Council Procedure Bylaw 3092 and all amendments thereto.
Thank you. Motion to Councillor Adie, Councillor Randawa. Discussion?
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
One of the, it's rather germane to the proceedings this evening. One of the enhancements of this bylaw, well, actually, there's two that affect us tonight. One is that it opens the opportunity, just right built into the bylaw, that whoever presides over the meeting must be physically in the room. But secondly, it allows an opportunity. It's not existed in the past at the beginning of every council meeting for members of the public to make comment or ask questions about anything on the agenda that's coming up. And so it's a very limited time. It's not, 20, 30 minutes, but it's a chance for members of the public, if they see something on the agenda, to actually come at the beginning of the meeting and either ask a question about it or speak to it.
Thank you. Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, passed. Okay, reports, questions, and inquiries from members of the council. Go ahead, Councillor.
Yeah, I do have a request, I suppose, and also a comment. My request would be, I'm hoping that we will, there was a Parks and Recreation survey and report process undertaken to give us a sense of direction in terms of our local parks and recreation. And there was public surveys and public input. I'm hoping that at some future meeting, certainly before we get in too far into the budgeting process, that we get some sense of a summary of the findings of that report, so that can inform some of our decisions around where we spend some money in that department.
Who would know about that? Would you?
Yeah, I can just give a quick update to Council Adie through the chair. Currently we have finished the first round of engagement on that final plan, and the summary of the survey has been posted to Rupert Talks, and we can do an update on that at a future meeting for council. And we are just moving into the developing of the draft document itself.
Okay, thanks. And I have a comment or a commendation of sorts. I was happy to attend the Ring System Music Studios Jingle Bell Rock just before Christmas. And not only was it an outstanding show and a credit to all of the musicians and the teaching involved, but they were also able to raise $4,000, just over $4,000 for the Salvation Army. And I want to say, I asked the director of the Ring System how many years they've been doing this, and he thinks it's about 12 years. So if you extrapolate that, you're talking about an organization that, through the efforts and talents of young people in this community, have likely gathered something in the order of $50,000 for the Salvation Army over the years. And I think that not only is that a fantastic contribution to the community, but it's also a great educational piece for the young people involved. I know that they take a great deal of pride in that aspect of those shows, and I really think they deserve a great deal of praise for that effort. And I'm happy to say that is combined with a really entertaining show. So it was good on them all the way.
Thank you. Councillor Randawa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are going through some winter weather now, and lots of potholes popping up, and so public want to know like if we have any policy and when people can expect to work on those potholes.
Uh, you're expecting an answer from that?
Yeah, please, if somebody
Okay,
can.
Dr. Buchan?
I would like to defer that question to Director Pucci.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair, we are constantly, continually doing pothole repair. We have our roads crew that goes out, identifies them. We have also ones that come in with calls, and when we can, we kick up our asphalt recycler to do it ourselves. Obviously, all of the batch plants are closed for the year and won't be open until probably April. But I must say that all of our team members have been just really focused on the water breaks lately. So we've probably seen some of that, some of that just getting a little bit neglected, just because all of our staff have just been really put on the concerns around water. But we will be back on it soon. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know if this is out of place or not, but considering that discussion that we couldn't have a little while ago, I was wondering if when Dr. Buchan and the mayor get back to town, if we could have a discussion about that with the owner of Digby Towers and see if we can expedite anything or something like that. Dr. Buchan?
There's nothing to expedite from council's position. Council's given direction to proceed. We've been waiting for documents to come in. They came in just before Christmas. Our corporate officer is processing the documents. We'll be sending out notices required from the Act within a couple of weeks, and we will be able to complete that process. We've been waiting for the documents to come in. Like I said, they came in just before Christmas, and of course, over Christmas, not much gets done.
Okay, thank you very much. I just wanted that clarified simply because of people are wondering what's going on and the mention of months and things like that. I think that sort of clarifies it. Thank you very much. Okay, a motion to adjourn to a closed meeting under Section 90 of the Community Charter to consider items relating to one or more of the following: the acquisition, disposition, or expropriation of land or improvements. If the council considers that disclosure could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality, N, negotiations or related discussions respecting the proposed provision of a municipal service that are at their preliminary stages and that, in the view of the council, could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality if they were held in public. It's a motion to adjourn to a closed meeting. Councillor Randhawa, Councillor Niche, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Thank you. Thank you very much.